Hey all, it's Jan of the Jan Files, and I appreciate your watching this video. I do hope that you will subscribe and like and share because I'm not sure what's going on with these algorithms. I know everybody's talking about it, about YouTube. I would like to think it's not true, but I don't know. I'm not getting very many views this past week, nor am I getting more subscribers. So I'm not sure what's happening since that was not the case in the past month. Anyway, so I'm going to just tell you what I've been dealing with this weekend. I live, as I've said before, in a town in Westchester. It is a very red town. I didn't know that when I moved in. Bad on me because I should have checked. But I was looking at close to the city, good school, all the things, and a house that I liked that we could afford. I didn't know the politics of this town. And of course, after being here for 13 years, I know the politics very well, and this town knows me very well because I call it out loudly when I see things that I believe are wrong. Most especially, and 99% of the time, I am calling out racism. And of course, this town believes that we live in Shangri-La, that racism doesn't exist, that, oh, I know Black people in this town and they don't complain about racism. And, this town, we don't see color. This is all about you're causing the problem. It really doesn't exist in here. Yeah. Okay. Let me give a little history of this town. I don't want to go all back, but just an FYI, way back in time, this was the town that Meyer Lansky lived in, where Luciano, what the fuck? Yeah. Lucky Luciano lived here too. And as late as 2016, the FBI was planting bugs in a local diner and made an arrest here of the mob. So that's the background for this town. And so subsequently, since one thing happened anyway, let me just give you anyway. So this town was offering Section 8 housing and had to stop because they were sued because they wouldn't offer it to Black people. They're only offering it to town residents, which in our town, there are very, very, very few Black people, although that is changing. Thank you, God. But they were sued and lost to the tune of like $600,000. So rather than change, they just eliminated Section 8 housing. I think the state had to take it over. I'm not sure, but the point is that this town didn't want to rent to Black people, period. After the George Floyd murder, there was the requirement by the state of New York to create a commission to look at discrimination within all police forces, right, in New York. This town created a commission, didn't bother to reach out to any Black people, and set, 5 or 6 white men created this commission to explore discrimination. You can't make this shit up. And recently, after years, it came out that a Black man who had been accused of murder was not guilty, and that he had been held by the Eastchester PD for 5 hours. And at some point, they turned, during a break, and they came back, they turned off the camera. And so that was another settlement that Eastchester had to pay. Now, I understand, I guess there's insurance, so they feel like they can do anything they want with impunity because insurance is going to cover it. And because this town is just happy to have their garbage picked up, right? To have their streets plowed, to have the potholes fixed, and the good schools. And now they've completely fucked up the good schools because the board, which is a mega board, did not handle the financials. And I'm not accusing them of anything illegal. I'm not talking about it like that. I'm accusing them of being stupid. And so we're now looking at cutting $4 million out of the school budget and possibly actually eliminating busing. So it's a total fuck up. It's a total screw up. So anyway, that's the background. Okay. So what happened earlier? I don't know. Maybe it was, what's today? Saturday, maybe Friday night. We have fairs. We have several fairs. We have what they call the ICS fair, which is the Immaculate Conception Fair, which is at the big local Catholic church. Then we also have the Columbus Day Fair. And there's also then in September, we have, before the Columbus Day Fair, obviously, a Greek fair. And these fairs, for whatever reason, are known for kids being stupid and unruly, right? Nobody is, to my knowledge, it's certainly not since I've been here, has been actually hurt. I mean, although I gather, anyway. So that's the background. There's fairs. And so there was that fair on Friday. And a swarm of kids came in and behaved badly. I guess there were a couple of fights. Somebody shouted there was a gun. I don't think that was ever proven out. There were no gunshots. Nobody was hurt, except for a couple of cops, I guess, were roughed up. This is still sort of like coming out, right? Now, where were those kids from? The reality is that when you do something where I live, you're close to the Bronx, you're close to Mount Vernon, and you're close to Scarsdale, and so there are a lot of towns, especially for these fairs that these kids love. They come in, and normally there may be a skirmish or something, but this was a big one, and a lot of cops had to be called in. And no, that's not right. So I'm never going to defend that. I am never going to defend, kids behaving badly. And that's what this was. But in this town, it turned into a racist narrative that is disgusting. And as usual, I was the one who called it out, made a point of responding to these racist texts on Facebook, contacted the mayor, contacted the police. The police who actually, what had happened, and I'm sorry if I'm take a big deep breath. There was a Facebook post about what happened that was posted by the Tuckahoe Police Department. Now, they are not the problem here. The Tuckahoe Police Department, I will have to say, is one of the most community-oriented police departments that I've ever seen. I support them, I champion them, and so this is not about them. This is about the comments that were made to their post on Facebook. They just said, hey, here's what happened. This is where we are, everybody's safe, etc. And so the comments were disgusting, racist drivel. Not all of them, obviously. There were some that were absolutely direct, saying, chimps will be chimps. Well, at least we know they aren't Italian. When this ethnic group, so you get it. You get what was posted, and I was appalled. And I called them out. I took screenshots. And anyway, that post is now down, except just the post from the PD is up with no comments. But I haven't let it go because that's just not who I'm going to be. And so I have my own group, a parent group, and I posted the racist bullshit that I saw. I didn't delete any fucking names. I also posted something that somebody sent me from another group that I'm not a part of. They don't want me to be a part of it, where they talk about me all the time. And the point of all of this is that I'm constantly getting this. It wasn't racist. When someone says malcontents and say they're from the Brooklyn, Bronx, and Queens, it's people think that we're stupid, right? Because they try to use words to describe, other than saying they want to blame the black population or black kids. They're not going to come out and say that. They say it another way, ethnic group. We know they're not Italians. It's all like, you think we're fucking stupid. And so this is what I've been dealing with this weekend. But this is what it takes, right? This is part of what we all have to do, because I'm calling it out. I'm putting my ass on the line for real in this town. And I'm going to continue to do it. I have this group, and all of a sudden 11 people wanted to join. Now, you know why they want to join. And it's that kind of, these MAGA assholes. And that's what they are. They come around and they go, this isn't racist. You can delete me if you want, whatever. And I will delete people. But my point over all of this is the fact that this is America. This is a perfect motherfucking snapshot of America, and especially white America. It is tiring, and I'm a white woman saying it's tiring, right? I'm a white woman having the gall to actually say it's tiring. It is tiring. But that's beside the point. I should just keep my mouth shut, because what I endure is nothing. Absolutely motherfucking nothing. But I just wanted to share my weekend experience, because they're still coming after me. It's ugly. They're, calling me a racist. And I'm like, you don't even understand what racism is, right? And anyway, I did hang. I took down my American flag today just for the month of June so that I can put up my pride flag. And that's how I operate. And I hope you will join me, because you don't think what happens in these like kind of local Facebook groups matter. It does. Because even if they're not commenting, a lot of Black people are watching. They're watching to see how we respond. They're watching to see who we are, as they should. So anyway, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Fuck me. And next week is a whole nother week of, American destruction of our democracy. So, good night.